Good evening again. Manoj here from Plus.ai. So basically, today's session is a very interesting session. ONDC 1.0 is something that we have been, you know, uh, working in for last 3 years, 2.5 years actually, and ONDC 2.0 is a very exciting journey coming up as we see, going forward. And I think what we will see is that. Fundamentally, the journey of a seller or a seller app or a buyer app in ONDC, how that is going to fundamentally, change is something that, we will talk a lot in this session. The idea is that we give you some kind of flavor what ONDC 2.0 is, right? The lot of the learnings that we have had about 2.0 and what we have learned about 2.0 has come from a session which ONDC did in Bangalore about a month back. We did like a 2-day session where got into a lot of details about how ONDC 2.0 will look like and those kind of stuff. So that basically those learnings and those thoughts and some of our own experiences is something that we want to present today as we present ONDC 2.0. Today, basically, Neha is here. She's leading growth at Plaza.ai. So she's gonna take us through a lot of the nitty gritties and fine points of ONDC 2.0. With her, Santosh Atsul, he's VP of governance at ONDC. He is going to join and give ONDC. It's good to hear. Of course, we are speaking from Plotch. We have been at ONDC for ONDC ecosystem for last 3 years, so we understand a lot of things. But it's good to hear from the horse's mouth kind of stuff, like so that's for we invited Santosh uh, from ONDC to share some of the other things, his point of view, what is happening in ONDC, and some kind of peek into ONDC, with respect to ONDC 2.0 kind of stuff. So that's basically is something that we thought we will present in this session. ONDC is growing extremely fast, and we have seen that in last 6 to 12 months, the number of transactions have grown. The focus is now that how do we become from X to 100X or 1000X, while the network is has a high quality of transactions, customer experience, seller experience, payment experience, and those kind of stuff. So that basically became a big focus area of discussion, even a month back when we were discussing that how do we ensure the network is the customer and seller can trust kind of stuff. So that basically is the genesis for a lot of these things that we are going to talk about on DC 2.0. Uh, I know we want these sessions we have done multiple times. We want you to ask as many questions as possible. We'll try to answer as many possible, but the more the session is interactive, the better it is. And you will learn a lot and we will learn a lot from each other kind of stuff. I'm speaking from Bangalore. The weather here is very rainy, and it's chilly. So and Neha is she's from Bombay. I think the weather there, I don't know, is also maybe
Yeah,
chilly
it's
and kind of stuff.
it's like one day hot, one day cold.
One day hot, one day
Switching
cold.
turns
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah. Weather is always an interesting thing in any city you go. I think Delhi is having like a 5 degree centigrade temperature, lowest in like decades.
Super cold. So
Super
Santosh must be freezing there.
phasing there. Yes, yes. So Santosh will join us from Delhi. So different parts of the country. With that, Neha, do you want to take ahead? Take us through
Sure,
the fine points of ONDC 2.0. Yeah.
sure,
Thank you.
sure, sure. Thank you so much, Manoj, for this. So, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad all of you have joined us here for the webinar, which is Decoding ONDC 2.0. There was a lot of excitement around it, a lot of questions that we were getting from people who are already on the network and those who want to join the network, right? And who are interested to join as a buyer app or a seller app. So we thought we'll have this webinar. So next 60 minutes, we will be deep diving and understanding that what are these changes, right? So although it sounds like, a lot of things will be different and simpler is the key word here. But what exactly is going to happen is what we will understand in the next 60 minutes, right? So 40 minutes we'll have the presentation followed by 20 minutes of Q&A. So I would really request everyone that we wait for the presentation to end, and after 40 minutes you can come up with questions. You can either put it in the chat or you can ask. Unmute yourself and ask. For now you can mute yourself, right? So soon we will be joined by Santosh as well. So as he has been introduced already by Manoj, he is the Vice President for Network Governance at ONDC, which is Open Network for Digital Commerce. And he has done a lot of good work related to whatever positive changes that we are seeing right now on the network. So he has been integral part of that. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to share my screen so that we can jump right in to the presentation and we can understand things in more detail. Just give me a second. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
It is coming up.
Okay,
Yeah, now it is visible.
it is visible. Okay, great. So we thought of starting with what's happening on ONDC exactly. Like, what are the number of transactions? What is the traction that the network is getting? Because that brings in confidence in a lot of people who want to join new, right? And they are contemplating how good it is going to be, what sort of orders are we going to get, the number of sellers who are already there, the sort of categories which are there, and all of that. So we thought we'll start with what is the current status, what's happening. If you look at this, that this shows like there has been a very constant growth in the number of transactions on the network, right? Let's take an example of the first quarter of this year, which is 24-25. This shows the total number of transactions on ONDC, which is 26.1 million. Then, if you only speak about the retail transactions, right? Retail includes all these categories like fashion, F&B, grocery, and all of that. So they were around 15 million transactions which happened. And if we look at how many out of these actually happened on Plotch platform, which means the clients who are associated with Plotch, they were approximately 4.4 million transactions, right? So which I can easily say is like 30% of the total number of retail transactions that happened during this quarter, which is the first quarter. It was on Plotch. And considering the kind of initiatives that Plotch is taking, they are very actively asking for feedback from even the network participants, all the stakeholders. It's progressing really fast considering all of that. I mean, we can easily say that there will be a growth of 5x to 6x in the coming few years, right? So there has been a constant growth, and this is what we can expect also considering a lot of new changes which are happening. Also, just wanted to give you a perspective of what's happening on Plotch so far. As you know, Plotch is the TSP. We are the technology providers. We are the enablers. Anybody who wants to join the network, we are the ones who make sure that you get launched on the network very easily. Goal is that we should be able to make all the interested NPs live within a day. That's the goal. And in a lot of ways, ONDC is also helping us in that. So this is how Plotch's performance has been. If you see in the last like quarter 2 of this year, we did almost 6 million transactions, right? Overall, till date, we have done almost 18 million transactions. So even Plotch has been growing very steadily quarter on quarter. So going forward, this is a very interesting slide with a lot of information. And so generally everyone is very curious about what is the number of seller apps who are already live, what is the number of buyer apps who are there, uh, what all categories, what brands, and all of that. So this gives you an overview what's happening, like how many people are there. If you see total NPs, now this would include your retail, logistics, all of that. Total NPs as on date, and it actually is very dynamic because you'll see every week there will be a change in number, right? Because new people will keep joining it. This number was taken a couple of days back. So this is 239 is the total number of NPs, and it has like grown very steadily. A lot of people, there's a lot of traction that we are seeing. Buyer app side, generally the profile is such that they have large customer base and they are interested in being the on the front end where they can directly cater to the customers, buyers. Total number right now is 32. If you know about Snapdeal, they are a buyer app. Paytm is a buyer app. A lot of new buyer apps are also coming in, joining in now. Seller app, we have currently 135 who are in live, like live stage. There are two types of seller apps, just to answer that question, because that question also comes a lot to us, that what is ISN, what is MSN. So ISN basically is when it is inventory led model, where it's the seller himself or itself is managing the inventory. For example, say boat, right? So boat is a ISN, right? Same way there are many more such examples where they upload the products, they manage the inventory, take care of the fulfillment all by themselves. On the other hand, if you look at MSN, that is a multi-seller model, right? So if there is a seller app, so for example, Shiprocket, so they'll have multiple sellers attached to them, and they will be managing all of them. So they become the seller NP, and the sellers are attached. That's MSN. If you this
Neha, just let me interject. So I think we should also give like what is a seller app and buyer app. I don't know how many people may here know what ONDC is, and they may confuse seller app with seller. So I just don't want to get out a people to think only 135 sellers are there, right? So I
yeah,
think good to give that perspective also. What is a seller app? What is a buyer app? Who is a NP in a ONDC guys?
right. So, as we all know, ONDC is a network, right? And it's a network which facilitates transactions. And there are two sides to this network. One side is the buyer app side, where you have uh, buyer apps like Snapdeal, for example. They'll have a storefront, they will have products which have come from the seller app side, which is the other side of the network. So supply is taken care by the seller apps, and demand is taken care by the buyer app side. So these are the two parts of the ONDC network. And seller apps majorly, they either, as I said, are either MSN, which is multi sellers. For example, Snapdeal is also a seller app. So they have approximately 3,000 sellers attached to them. So all these sellers are live on the network. So when we say that there are total 135 seller apps, it means that there are almost 2.83 lakh sellers overall who are live as well. And they are selling through these seller apps. Did I make it a little clear, Manoj?
Yeah, no, definitely better. So basically, the four, if when we look at the whole ONDC network, the primarily four parties there, right? One is a buyer and one is a buyer app. So first is buyer, one is second is a buyer app, then the seller app and the seller, right? The buyers and the sellers, the buyer is a buying. So I Manoj want to buy a pizza, so I am a buyer. Now Pizza Hut wants to sell the pizza, so they are a seller in the network. But buyers and sellers, Manoj and Pizza Hut needs to match. Basically, they need to discover each other, and I need to buy pizza, so I need to discover. I need to see Pizza Hut somewhere, right? So buyer app comes into picture, right? So as a buyer, I will go to For example, Snapdeal as a buyer app to buy kind of stuff. Now, Pizza Hut also needs to get discovered in the network, but they need a seller app, right? And that seller app can be You Engage or Growth Falcon or or Vikra or whatever. There are a lot of seller apps there, right? So each seller needs a gateway to enter, and buyer needs a gateway to enter, and these gateways are buyer apps and seller apps. And because these are just gateways, the number of gateways are not very large number, but number of buyers and sellers are very large number, right? So ONDC has more than 100 million customers cumulatively. If you look at Paytm, if you look at Snapdeal, if you look at Tata Digital and those kind of stuff. And here basically more than 5 lakh sellers are there, including the mobility, right? So there's a huge ecosystem which is talking to each other, but in between these gateways or these apps, net buyer apps and seller apps, which we call network participants, NPs, are primarily where the network gets created, and they have to adhere to ONDC's policies and those kind of stuff. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Correct. So, shall we move ahead?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
So, this is the core of today's webinar, where we are talking about ONDC 2.0. And I'll just try to sketch a picture of how things were almost 1 year back, right? So, how it used to be, if somebody had to go live, there was a Google sheet, right, which was shared, and it had like multiple worksheets. One had a lot of details that you had to fill up related to the QA that you have done. One required you to fill in details related to the IGM. One required information about RSP. It wanted you to fill in all the details of your single point of contacts, SPOCs. A lot of features had to be declared. So it was like a complex sheet which we had. There was also a Google form. So in the Google form again, there used to be like a lot of details which had to be filled up, a lot of uploads of documents required, and all of that. So if you talk about the visibility at ONDC's end, so if they wanted to know which NP is at what stage of onboarding, where are they stuck, do they need any help, it used to be all on emails, and also through various channels like WhatsApp, etc. So it was little fragmented. I can safely or easily call it a maze, right? So how things have changed now, it's we can say that it has converted from a maze to a highway. Why? Because now everything happens on a single platform, which is the ONDC platform, and which we will understand more in detail going forward. So there is one portal which is ONDC, other portal which is Praman. Okay, that also has been very helpful. So whatever used to happen earlier, all on emails, even verifications, approvals, all of that, any questions, queries, resolution, all of that. So everything was fragmented, was a little confusing. Now it is very clear for everyone because it's all at one place. It's on the ONDC portal. Verification happens very quickly, easy to understand. There are lots of manuals for anyone to go through themselves and understand. And of course, we as TSP, we do complete hand holding where the tech related heavy lifting anyways is done by us. And whatever information we require, we take it from you in a very structured way. And as I told you, our goal is that we can make NPs live within a day. So that's the goal that we want to achieve, and we are trying to streamline the processes so that that is actually possible. So this is to give you a perspective that in the past, a lot of population scale initiatives have been taken, and where things were simplified, and overall net result was valuable. Okay, it was a complete success. I don't know if you remember, before GST came into picture, there used to be VAT, there used to be octroi, there used to be excise, and God knows so many different taxes. Everything has now converged to GST. So it's one nation, one tax simplification, and which led to the growth, right? So that's a very good example of how things happen. Even if you take example of UPI, right? Imagine before how you had to add the beneficiary, wait for it to be approved, then do a bank to bank transfer and all of that. Now it's a matter of seconds, right? Interestingly, now we have almost 400 million UPI users, and it's growing very steadily. Even if you take the case of bank accounts, it's no longer a complex process. There are so many banks who actually open an account within minutes, right? So, and we should be proud that today we have almost 2.5 billion bank accounts in this country, right? So, and even FASTag I added because this is very easy for everyone to relate. Imagine how on tolls, it was so unstructured. There was cash collection happening. Reconciliation, I'm sure, must have been a nightmare for all the authorities. It's I won't say FASTag is 100% implemented, but I think it is being implemented in a good way. So there has been growth there as well. So this is just to give you a perspective of how simplification has led to a lot of positive growth in the past.
We want to
So
welcome Santosh. He has just joined. Hi, Santosh. Great to see you and good to be.
Yes. Hi, Manoj. Hi, Neha. Really apologies again for joining a bit late, but yeah, thank you.
No, no, thanks for joining, and we'll of course pull you in, and feel free to share your point of view whenever you feel
Sure.
like, kind of stuff. Yes.
Right.
sure. So basically, now what exactly are we going to touch upon, right? What is the crux of uh, how things are getting easier, how things are getting simpler? I would really request that all of you, if you have questions, please keep either putting it in the chat, or you can keep writing it down at with you. And after this presentation, we'll take up all your questions. So these are the four main points. Although there are like lots of initiatives which are being taken by ONDC, they're doing a great work, and it is impacting e-commerce at population scale. Although it is going to take hours if we cover everything, but we thought of picking those points which is going to directly impact in onboarding or joining the network or go live, right? So one of the points is that there's going to be zero touch integration journey. How that is going to happen, we will see in the coming slides. As I told you earlier, the verification used to be on emails, checks used to take time and all of that. Now it is far more easier, faster, right? Then for sellers and catalogs to get visibility, there used to be a lot of non-clarity related to, okay, why is my catalog not visible? What happened? If at all it got rejected, how did it get rejected? They used to get the rejection details over emails, and a lot of to and fro and all of that, right? So solution has been carved out for that as well. Also, there are a lot of very clear protocols regarding the disclosures. Okay, if you are doing a search and a certain search results that you are seeing right on top, what is the on what basis are these is the sorting done, right? And all of that. So these are the main 4 points, also followed by IGM and RSF, which we will be discussing going forward. So we are talking about very quick go live, right? So the panel is ready, portal is ready, but what is it that is expected from the NP's end, right? So you as an NP, if you want to go live quickly, there are certain things that you have to keep handy, ready with you, including the domain that you want to register as a subscriber ID, right? You need to have details related to your company, your certificate of incorporation. You need to have GST, PAN. Like Udyam also that is something which is for SMEs and MSMEs, if at all it applies. You need to have signing authority details and all of that, right? So from an NP's end, what is expected is that you keep all these details ready. Okay, the details are ready. Now what next? What are you supposed to do? And on this portal, actually, what happens? So details are ready. We come to the portal. So we have tried to put some of the main action items which happen on the portal, right? So a lot of these things are taken care by the TSP. So as you know, Ploch is the TSP. We do a lot of hand holding. We take care of mostly, as I said, tech related heavy lifting is done by us. However, certain information that only an NP can provide, so we completely depend on the NP for providing that as soon as possible. So very first and a most important thing is the network participant agreement, right? And this is the agreement that happens between the NP, which is the network participant, and the and ONDC, right? So now network participant is supposed to do a digital signature, and it has to be uploaded on this portal. Right? So that's the first and the most important.
Yeah, they can actually, in fact, even e-sign on the portal directly. So this
Okay.
is more of, so that's an update that's just, come in maybe recently.
Okay.
But yeah, you can e-sign it. The idea is just to understand it, and that's it.
Okay, okay, great, great. So it has become further easier now, right? So you don't have to upload anything, you can just e-sign there, right? Great. So as you all know that in e-commerce, like, for it to function very smoothly, you need to have individuals taking care of, different responsibilities, including your operations, including the fulfillment of the orders, including customer support, very important part, payouts, because you have to keep the customers happy and the sellers happy, right? So you have to make your payouts on time, and you have to keep the customers happy by answering all their queries and complaints as well. So you need to have people who have been assigned this responsibility to take care of all of this, which is why even if initially you want to pick and choose from your existing team, right, and eventually if you want to hire somebody who can take care of this end to end, that is also fine. You can have people who have shared responsibility, all of that is fine. Even if you at present while launching you want to give the details of somebody who's taking care of it, and later on you want to update, all of that is possible, but you have to identify people to take care of this also. Santosh, I'm sure you'll agree that from ONDC, if you have questions and you want to ask certain things, you need someone who can readily respond to you and give you all the details, right? So it's very important to have the SPOC details, and these have to be filled in on the ONDC portal, right?
Correct. So this is just to elaborate on that point. This is more related to things that you need to go, have once you are live on the network, right? So one part of the onboarding journey is where, we are first building the tech platform, making sure that everything works out, right? Now, this is like a network. So there are multiple, if you are a seller app, you are essentially interacting and doing transactions with multiple buyer apps. Now, which these buyer apps need to know whom to speak to if they are talking about a platform A, right? And these POC details,
Hmm.
because they are entered and they are updated frequently, buyer apps are sure that the right person is reached out for the right set of things. Again, this is not necessary that you need to have five different names or different names for each. It
Hmm.
can be the same person. It can be maybe two responsibilities are being done by one person, but the
Yeah,
idea is who's performing a particular role is something which makes it clear.
right. Thank you so much for that, Santosh. So, next point is mostly related to tech readiness, right? How ready is the software? Now, this again, as a TSP, we take care of this. We will be seeing this. This is screenshot of the Praman portal, where we as TSP we do all the tests related to order flows, cancellations, returns, COD, all of that. So everything is tested here for ONDC to know that it is ready. It's the readiness related to this software. So this part mostly is almost completely is taken care by the your tech partners. Now, something very important, which is, as I was telling you, you have to in e-commerce, you have to keep the buyers happy and the sellers happy. So, the next point is related to RSF, which is Reconciliation and Settlement Framework, which is which I think Santosh will be throwing light on what exactly it is later, also about IGM. So, this here we require you to be integrated to NBBL. It is NPCI Bharat Bill Pay Limited. Okay, this is a 100% subsidiary of NPCI, and they take care of the transactions which happen through RSF. So this gives you, an overview of what is expected from an NP when it comes to registering yourself on NBBL. Most of it your TSP will take care, which is Plotch can take care of most of the information that NBBL requires. But what is expected from you is signing of an agreement, which happens where you also have to share a hard copy with them. And also there are certain details like the bank account details that you have. What sort of bank account? We'll just come to that. But these are the details like bank IFSC code and all of that, account name, and of course your subscriber ID on the network. So for you to make smooth the payments to the seller apps and etc. So you have to ensure that you are registered with NBBL, and Plotch helps you. We immediately start connecting you to the banks, the NBBL authorities, and wherever some sort of agreement is required, quick paperwork is required, all of that we take care of it.
I just want to highlight that the NBBL we have as a TSP, we have already have integration. So we provide RSF compliant payment solution to all our NPs. So they don't need to worry about NBBL integration, those kind of stuff. So that's a big plus if you're going through someone like us, which is a TSP. And RSF, I just want to highlight RSF is for payments. And that basically, if you're worrying, if you're wondering what RSF is for reconciliation settlement. So it's for payment. The buyer app has to pay to seller app and seller app has to pay to buyer app. That basically happens in an automated way using RSF. So these two things I just wanted to highlight. Neha, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So the next point that I wanted to highlight was that there is a certain type of a bank account which is required, which is a network participant bank account. Let's quickly see what are the features of these and how is it different from.
Yeah. So maybe Neha, I'll just come in here. So see, network participant account now is something which is integrated with the integration of NBBL, right? So all these aspects are something which are taken care the minute integration with NBBL happens. While yes, this account is still, there, but this is something which NPCI NBBL takes care of.
Okay. So, Santosh, is it like any account that you have, suppose in HDFC, for example, if somebody has a current account and they get into a contract with NBBL, so they will be able to make the payments?
No, not that. So see, the network participant bank account is still required, right?
Oh,
Only aspect is this will get operated by NPCI,
sure.
right?
Correct.
Because essentially what an this network participant bank account is, it's a non-operative account. So non-operative account meaning that it can only get operated through settlement advices. Now
Yes,
this settlement advice is something which gets taken care through NPCI. So this account is something which gets registered with NPCI. That's
yes.
all. That's what
Okay.
I
Yes,
wanted.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So here, like two things. One is that this is non-operative. When we say non-operative, in the sense you cannot make ad hoc withdrawals from this. Any kind of funds movement that happens from this account is via NBBL. So that's the whole idea. That is one. Plus, there are certain banks which are already providing this sort of a bank account. One is IDFC, other is ICICI. There is Yes Bank also. There is RBL Bank, and so there is a list which NBBL has provided, and these are
Correct.
the
And I
banks.
think, yes, and major banks like SBI, HDFC, all of these are something in pipeline, which will be going live very soon, within this month or maximum by next month. These banks also will be there.
Yes, fine. So, I hope this is clear as to what sort of a bank account we require. Followed by this, the IGM part, the customer grievance part, which we were talking about. This is mostly 100% taken care by your tech partners. So here, say Plotch is your TSP, so end to end, it will be taken care by us, where we get it approved from ONDC, and this as the tickets can be raised by the customers. The tickets are through IGM. If it's an issue through IGM, it can be pushed to the seller NP from the buyer NP, and it can be resolved from the seller NP's end. And Santosh is going to tell us more about it, in a short while. So, besides this, if we have to see that, what else is required, what are the action items, right? ONDC portal pe kya, jaldi jaldi karke, khatam karke, we have to go live. Then, couple of things more. One is that, you have to have all your terms and conditions and policies and disclosures very well laid out. Okay, so there are certain formats which are anyways provided by ONDC to make everything simple. So there are disclosures related to things like as I was telling you that if I am suppose searching for shoes, right, on any buyer app, and you see certain search results, how are those sorted? On what basis are those sorted? Also, what are the minimum standard which is required for any product to show up, or any seller to show up? Are there like certain criteria that you have set? All of those disclosures needs to be there in a specific format, and they are supposed to be published publicly. Also, very important disclosure which is required is related to payments and payouts, like the frequency of the payouts that you make. What are your if you have certain return periods that you keep into consideration while making the payouts and all of that. So those kind of disclosures where you have very set. So even like Plotch does a lot of hand holding and making sure that it happens quickly. We have a quick meet to discuss all these points, and we are able to take care of this. So going back here, next thing, something which is very important, and that's the generation of keys for network observability. Now, as the name suggests, what is network observability? It's like a dashboard which is there, which you see here, and once you reach the prod environment, which is the production environment, and where you are able to see everything from the number of orders received, how many are confirmed out of those, how many are delivered for any specific date range. You can see how many are in process, what's the fill rate like. You can see like a breakup here of who are the seller NPs from whom you have received the orders. uh, you can see the trend of how the orders are coming month wise, week wise, etc. All of that you can see very detailed order at a granular level. If you want to see order related details like what was the order ID, what is the current status, all of that is possible. These are all downloadable reports This is mostly, as the name suggests, network observability, where all the stakeholders have a quick access of what's going on with every NP, right? What's the status, the order related status, transaction related status, and all of that, right? What is the fulfillment rate? If if there's a gap, if there is any help required in order to fill that gap, and all of that. So this is extremely critical. So certain we're supposed to integrate this. So again, this is taken care by the TSP. You as an NP, you don't have to do or worry much about it. Certain keys are generated, and TSP takes care of it, so that the logs for each and every transaction, they start relaying to the network, and they are visible on this dashboard. Last but not the least, because so far, whatever steps we have discussed and the action items we have discussed, this will make you reach the beta prod stage. Now, for any NP to move from a beta prod to a prod or live prod stage, you are expected to place certain orders, or even if like you are already getting orders, great. So at least 50 to 60 orders are reviewed, where there should be minimum of 80% successful fulfillment, right? So if you're a buyer app or a seller app, doesn't matter. There has to be, at least 80% successful fulfillment, which means you cannot breach the TAT while fulfilling those orders if you're a seller app. There are no cancellations, not too many cancellations. Should actually maintain the inventory and all of that. So this is to check that once the entire flows, also the entire flow is checked in this of order placement, fulfillment, and all of that in real prod environment. And once this is done, you come in the live stage. You want to add anything here, Santosh?
No, yes, I think most of these, I mean, you have covered it quite well. So with respect to these steps, I think I was just going through the questions that were coming in. I think most of them seem to be around more of how the network works. So I think the questions seem to be more on, where's the data is getting stored and things like that. That's why maybe, we may want to address that. Otherwise, this just seems to be for the audience that is there, right? I'm just going through the questions. That's why maybe process-wise, yes, you have covered it, right? All of you can actually understand what are the steps, why a particular step is being carried out just by visiting portal.ondc.org, right? And these details are something which are available there. I think the screenshot is also attached, in the slide here. So, a lot of those aspects, come in there definitely.
Yeah.
I think we will of course address the questions very quickly. So I think we'll get to that questions.
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes, so I think.
Yeah, let's just complete the presentation, then we can take up all the questions. So, I quickly wanted to, give you an overview of what are the advantages of going with Plot on ONDC portal. So basically, because we are the TSP, and you don't have to go through the staging environment. You can straight away go to the pre-prod environment. A lot of, as we have already discussed, a lot of tech related heavy lifting is done by us. We don't bother you about all of that, because we have been affiliated to the network, since lot many months. So we understand that how things can, where an NP will get stuck, and we should help them quickly and all of that. And also related to, if you're a buyer app, then generally they are looking for some sort of inputs related to the merchandising bits, which are the fast moving brands, and which are the sellers, all of that. So a lot of knowledge comes naturally when you are going through a TSP. Then some another feature that we have is, if suppose you are not comfortable with a specific seller or the products that the seller is selling, we have provision for whitelisting or blacklisting those sellers, right? Then, as you know, we were speaking earlier, IGM, which is issue and grievance management, and RSF is inbuilt, so you don't have to worry. You don't have to go to external, technology partners for that. Everything is end to end, one-stop shop. So everything is it comes together as a package for you. So it goes live very quickly because of that. Then another very big advantage, I don't know if you have noticed on Swiggy and other portals where you can only and only order from a single seller, right? So that's not the case here. We provide that flexibility for buyer apps that you can have products from different sellers all coming to a single cart. How it helps is that you can definitely have much higher average order value, right? Because person is not restricted to choosing products from a single seller. Another very important point is that what we provide as a service is customized integrations, right? Like single sign-on, for example. If you already have an app, right, and you would like to build a buyer app where your customers should be able to surf the products. They should be able to add to cart. They should be able to check out on your app itself instead of having a separate buyer app, a separate this thing altogether. So even that is possible, right? SSO is single sign-on. If it's already registered on your app, you can direct them to the buyer app without asking them for re-registering themselves, right? If you have a wallet, you want that to be integrated to your buyer app, that is possible. Any specific payment gateway you want, that can be integrated. So all these kinds of customizations, all these are possible. We've also come up with multilingual search recommendation, like you talk about Tamil, Kannada, Punjabi, Marathi, Telugu, all of that. It's possible for searching, and we have also done certain webinars around that. So that is a new launch that we did. So that is also possible. And of course, there is possibility of customization of home pages and landing pages. A lot of people are very specific that this is the kind of framework we want and all of that. So any kind of customizations are also possible. So something I have put here, which is actually very important, that we are just about to launch gift cards. It's almost done, and we'll soon be announcing it. So gift cards is also something which will be on launch. Manoj, you want to add something here?
No, I think it's a great overview of the process and how if we go through TSP, what kind of benefits they get. So fundamentally, if I have to summarize, like ONDC 2.0 is basically making the journey of a seller app, seller and buyer app very very frictionless, and make it very automated, and that basically is to ensure that a lot of people can participate at a very very large scale. I mean, that basically is what we are trying to get to. And I can assure you that ONDC team is doing extremely hard work to make that happen. We as a TSP are sort of supporting them in that journey. Feel free to ask any question. We'll quickly touch upon the questions because these are real questions, and a lot of people have a lot of confusion. And I think we can start with the first one, which is there is a very low awareness of ONDC amongst consumers. Hardly anyone knows how to order via ONDC from Paytm. Now, ONDC is, Santosh, you can add, but fundamentally ONDC is an invisible layer in some ways. It basically binding everything together, right? So customer doesn't need to know he's buying from ONDC because they're buying seamlessly from ONDC, from Paytm, Magic Pin, or Snapdeal, and those kind of stuff, right? So it's a sort of a fabric. It's an invisible fabric which connects. So I think that basically is my short answer to that. Santosh, feel free to add if you have any.
Yeah. So only thing that I'll add is you don't need to know that you are ordering on ONDC, to be
Yeah.
very honest. So ONDC, like what Manoj also explained us, it's an underlying fabric. It's like, when you're doing UPI, right? You are actually just downloading, say, Paytm or Phone Pay or Google Pay as an application, and you're working, right? You're not really really doesn't matter whether you're using UPI and how UPI is getting connected. What's working? That's how exactly it is for ONDC as well. It's more of a language that is being used for communication. That's about it.
Yes, yes, definitely. The second question is, how has the search improved in terms of recency, speed, and relevance, considering so many seller apps receiving requests in real time from multiple buyer apps? Now, this is where ONDC 2.0 has very interesting concepts like catalog as a service and global cache registry. And we seeing that there's an optimization needed because there's so much of search happening. Now, these kind of search has a lot of volume, a lot of network overhead and those kind of stuff. So to minimize that, the global cache registry is a very interesting concept with ONDC is putting out, is that there will be a global central repository of catalog and you just pull it from there kind of stuff, right? So you don't need to really exchange catalogs with each of the parties kind of stuff, right? So a very important enhancement in the search of discovery of products kind of stuff, right? And catalog as a service, which means that these brands like Nestle and all those brands have standardized catalog, right? So if they can just upload it in a central place, and each sellers like kiranas can actually pick from that catalog, and the brands can update that catalog at a central place, so that the kiranas don't, or a retailer doesn't need to, or a seller doesn't need to really worry about the changes in the price and the content and those kind of stuff, right? And new products get added very quickly. So there's a lot of interesting development. We'll try to cover that in a separate webinar, because there's a lot of details around that. Has ONDC solved cash on delivery returns? Yes, that I can tell you that COD refunds returns is live, is live in network right now, and I can tell you because we are one of the tech enablers to do that kind of stuff. So it is there. It's is that COD is still in a very early days, so it's taking it's going to take a little bit more time, but the journey has started, right? A year back we were only prepaid, right? Now at least the ONDC COD is there, which is actually a very interesting development in my view. Is ONDC API version from 1.2 to 2.0? 2.0 is API content level also. So when we say ONDC 2.0, uh, it's not really, and Santosh, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not really upgrade of the protocol as such. It's not. We're not moving from ONDC version 1.2 to 2.0. Although in IGM and RSF there's 2.0, coming. We have moved from RSF 1.2 to 2.0, but the protocol, Indian protocol of ONDC is still version 1.2. Is that the journey? A lot of things like that, a lot of infrastructure is coming into play, like global cache registry and those kinds of Praman is coming, so that you can make it easier, those kinds. So it's a more enhancement in the framework and infrastructure than in the protocol right now. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
basically.
more of a strategic 2.0 shift, right? It's like the second wave, you can say, not just in technology, but in terms of how we intend to solve the problems that we were facing so far. More of a
Okay,
strategic outlook.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. ONDC exactly is what I am unable to understand. So ONDC, okay, so basically that's why we took some time to tell you what ONDC is in the initial part of the webinar. Is basically it is a network. It basically it has you can think of a network which is two-sided network, demand side and supply side. The demand side is where the buyer apps and buyers are. Supply side is where seller apps and seller are. And ONDC, basically you can think of ONDC as a company which basically governs the policies. It's a Section 8 company, and ONDC as a network, which is basically formed by these NPs, network participants like seller apps and buyer apps kind of stuff, right? And then there's ONDC protocol. So there's three different things that is good for you to keep in mind, that these are three different things in some ways, right? And and the protocol is what binds. So we I and you can talk in English language. So protocol is like that. Buyer app and seller app can talk to each other in a standardized language. So that basically is what ONDC. So ONDC is a population scale network which government is trying to create so that each citizen of this country can buy and sell seamlessly without any hindrance, without any bias kind of stuff. So that's basically is a very overarching uh, you know, uh, ethos of ONDC. Just want to highlight that. Anything you want to add, Santosh?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it would have been covered in the initial part of it, right? But
Yes,
just
yes,
if I
yes.
have to very simply try to put out is, see, what ONDC does is it is providing a language by which multiple platforms can speak with each other, right? So as a seller, what the capability that you get is you do not have to only you get access to multiple apps by which orders can be placed, to you, and at the same time you can define your own terms in which you want to interact with different buyer apps. So the idea that when we talk about specific platforms that currently do exist, there are certain mandates that platform put in, that if you want to do a specific type of transactions, or you can only do a specific type of transactions with me, that is something that we try to eliminate within ONDC. That's I think in a very short gist, if I have to say.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. So the next question is about OMS integration. So basically, a lot of sellers have integration with Shopify and Magento and those kind of stuff. So therefore, OMS integrations are a lot of seller apps are providing. Joho is there. Joho basically integrates all their seller into through their seller app called Vikra. So there are of course integrations which are available. How can I list our products on ONDC? You basically need a seller app. If you are a seller, like you can be a seller app and list your products as an inventory seller yourself. But if you don't want to list yourself as a network participant seller app, but you can also be a seller, but you need a seller app to get into the network. So you can contact any seller app. I think the details are on ondc.org, which are available. All the seller apps and buyer apps and their contact details are available. So you can go there and look and choose your seller app through which you want to list your products, kind of stuff, right? Who provides logistics at the moment? Marketplaces take care of logistics. So logistics basically in ONDC has a in network logistics and out of network logistics. So both options are there. ONDC has a retail network, has a logistics network, has a fintech network, has a mobility network, right? These are four big networks which ONDC has. Now retail network, if you have some orders, you can actually tap as a in-network logistics, what we call. You can basically go into logistics network and get your logistics from there, right? So it's some ways like retail you can think of as a retail domain, as a marketplace, and something like logistics network as a ship rocket kind of thing. So you basically get all the logistics options kind of stuff, right? And you seamlessly integrated because both are parts of ONDC network, right? So but ONDC doesn't, I don't think ONDC mandates you to have in-network logistics only. So you can also have direct contract with other logistics. Your seller app may provide logistics help in that case. So they also play a role of a marketplace kind of stuff there. But both the options are there. ONDC API contact still on Google Docs. This is also moving on any online API documentation system.
Yes, so maybe I'll just update on
Sure.
this. So yes, so as of now, only the retail and logistics contract, I believe, are in Google Docs, right? And I think there is a timeline defined for it. In the next 2 to 3 months, these are also something which will get converted into a Swagger Hub UI sort of aspect.
Got it. Got it. So
And in
two
case
to
I
three
think
months.
these questions are something which you can, today ask on GitHub, or if you are going with a TSP, definitely TSP can answer a lot of these questions that you have.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So I think yeah. So 2 to 3 months already the work has started, right? So but retail and logistics 2 to 3 months it will move. Where is the buyer's data and seller's data stored? So we basically buyers and seller data are with the seller apps and buyers themselves, right? It's not shared with anyone in the network. The only thing you share is the network NO, which is network observability, but that you can just strip out all the personal details. only detail that you want, that you share is that which who, the status of the order, and those kind of stuff, so that everyone knows how the network is working. It's primarily a directional, you get some kind of overview, the network health, cancellations and returns, how many returns are actually. That
Correct.
basically is the role of a
So,
network.
so
Yeah.
maybe just to answer that first question, buyer's data is with the buyer app and seller's data is with the seller app. I mean, that's how the construct is, right? So buyer takes care of the demand side. So any information related to buyer, all that is controlled by the buyer app. So, buyer apps like Paytm, buyer like Kojle that we were showing, right? So all these buyer apps essentially save their own data. It is not something which gets shared. Only the order related or fulfillment related information is something which is shared with the seller, so they can actually do the fulfillment. Similarly, seller's information is something only available with the primarily with the seller NP. Of course, they may share catalog and related information only from the perspective of ordering. That is what is get shared. But the idea is information, only contextual information is shared between parties. Otherwise, all information is stored within those two individual platforms.
Yes, yes, yes. So, is the NP's responsibility to open the NP account, or NBBL handle? So this is my knowledge that the NBBL doesn't take care of your bank account. You have to open your bank account.
Yes, because the
NBBL,
bank account
yeah,
is in your name,
yes,
so it will require your KYC. So NBBL only addresses the account, but it does not open. You have to open the bank account and provide them the details.
yes, yes, yes. Is seller app TSPs and IGM TSPs are different? Well, they can be different. I mean, I don't think that that is something that has to be same. Is IGM API URI and retail API array can be different? Well, I think that's a good suggestion. We also feel that there should be two different, because my TSPs for this can be different and those can be different. But today, retail app URI and IGM and retail, the URIs are pretty much the same. Of course, the endpoints, the last endpoints like the on issue, all that. But your host and host is pretty much the same kind of stuff. So that's something I just want to highlight. Okay. On beta approach, shouldn't the condition to fulfill feature before going to vary by
Yeah.
category?
So
Okay.
here, so Praveen, so there is a difference. So the 50-60 orders is really depending on the kind of SKUs that you have. So in case it's a high value item like electronics or larger home appliances, yes, the order condition is not 50-60 in those cases.
Yeah. Then the next question: what is the ONDC and how it help in e-commerce seller to sell products to buyer? Uh, I think it's fundamentally, I would suggest we do a lot of webinars on ONDC itself, right? How ONDC operates and those kind of stuff. So we are happy to cover that, because uh, you know uh, it requires some bit of presentation of what a ONDC is and ONDC network is. ONDC, I don't know if Santosh, you want to answer how it helps in e-commerce help, but I'm happy to also share.
Sure. I mean, see, so the idea of ONDC for a seller, right now, depending on the type of business that you are in, it would have different value propositions for different cases. So if you're talking about as a seller, what ONDC is doing is it is helping you find more than one surface where you can sell your product, right? So today, if you are a seller, if you subscribe to a specific platform, right, that platform's buyer interface is the only surface where your products get displayed, right? So what I mean is, if you are in say platform A, you will only be able to see or you'll only be able to sell the products to people who access that specific app. So rather than that, what ONDC as a network does is it has provided a language by which no matter which platform that you are currently registered as a subscriber, right? I mean, you have subscribed to, you will be able to show your products on multiple places. So, that's a very brief, broad description that I'm saying. Probably, I think Monica has already answered a lot of information about what ONDC is, how you can do business is something which is available on our website, ondc.org. Also, there are weekly briefing calls that do take place where we connect with people who want to join these websites. These online discussions, and where we explain what this ONDC as a concept is, what is the value proposition from a seller perspective, different categories. That is something that is covered over there. Maybe we'll share that link. So
Yeah.
it's available on our website, and where you can essentially get into the understanding of that part.
Great. I think we are almost actually more than time over time. So I just quickly take one or two. What is the difference from PG? I think it's related to RSF from what I understand. So basically, your PG can provide RSF compliant solution. I'm not aware of any PG right now who provides that, but it's not PG can also provide a sort of a RSF compliant payment solution. So
Yes.
that's not a challenge. For multi-seller order, if there's a delay by one seller for delivery, how the account will be answered. So basically each order is a seller. So a seller A and seller B. So there are two orders created, even though the customer has ordered from one cart. So seller A will be accountable for the seller A order. Seller B will be accountable for the seller B order. So it's not like if you're ordering from the same cart that you only there's only one order goes to the both kind of stuff,
There's
right?
separate order IDs which are created, so they're
Which are
accountable
created.
for their own.
Yes, yes, yes. What is the difference between beta prod and prod operation? Why is all the live prod products are available on beta? All live prod buyer apps are available on beta. No, beta prod is just a temporary phase in which a buyer app is there or a seller app is there. They
You can
basically
consider it as a pilot,
yeah.
a pilot just before going live. What would happen is, since you have built your application, everything is in place, right? You may want to do certain amount of test orders so that you are sure that you are able to operate on the network smoothly, right? And that's what this stage is all about. In fact, because of this confusion, we are also calling this as live under observation. So think about it,
Hmm.
that you are technically live, right? You're under observation in terms of you're just looking at, are you able to operate smoothly, things like that. That's about it. That's what this stage is. There's no difference between a live, uh, technically on the network, there is no difference between a live entity versus a entity which is in beta.
Yes, yes. Will the product be visible to all seller apps once it's available to any seller app? So basically, I'm assuming is visible to all buyer apps. Is what the question is. Yes, if you are basically if you upload your product to a seller app, basically it's like the each buyer apps can access that. Of course, you may not respond to a particular buyer app depending on if there's something that you feel that I don't want to sell on this buyer app, but fundamentally it is that a network, it's a network, right? So each of the networks, a seller enters in the network is actually available in all the buyer app. That's basically the idea that a seller should see the whole India. That's the whole idea that about ONDC, and each customer should see the whole India on the seller side kind of stuff. We need to develop your own app first. Yeah, so if you basically, if you are coming as a seller NP or a buyer NP, you will have to develop your own, technology. Unless the easier ways to use TSPs like us, which are plots.ai, and there are a lot of other TSPs. But we'll be happy to talk to you if you're looking to join ONDC and fast forward your journey in that. Is the sellers data stored in that particular platform? Is the sellers want to leave that particular platform, join other platforms? Yeah, you can basically. I think that is also the switching. The seller can switch from one seller NP to another NP. That's not a challenge. It's just a gateway. It depends on what commercial the seller app has. If you don't like the payment terms, or if you don't like how they're supporting you, they can switch to another. That's not uh it's like it's allowed. So it's not like not allowed. What is Plots.ai? So basically, we are officially a TSP in ONDC. So we provide technology solutions so that you can go live in ONDC without worrying about that I have so much tech to do kind of stuff. So we basically make it very very light from a tech perspective, and also we help you through the ONDC go live and after go live process, so that you feel that there is a support, full-fledged support that you have from a experienced party. is Praman ONDC both are different? No, basically Praman is a tool, infrastructure which ONDC has given so that you can automate your journey into ONDC. So that basically is a very short answer. Uh, uh, on beta prod, we shouldn't be conditioned. I think this we have covered.
Yeah, I think we answered that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
it
think
is
those are the
different. It
questions.
is not
Yeah,
same. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, okay. Sorry. I think I answered wrong. It's part of the. Okay, okay. Sorry. So yeah, so with that, I think we had an amazing session. It was something that we all enjoyed, and I hopefully you all enjoyed it, and you took that some kind of at least a very high level overview that ONDC is making a lot of effort to ensure that your journey into ONDC is very, very quick and very fast. And we are all there to support you in that. And I want to thank Santosh for being here. It's been a pleasure. It takes a lot of effort to be here. So I want to thank you really for that.
Thank you
And
so much, Santosh,
yeah,
for
Yes.
joining
Thank
us
you.
here.
yeah,
Thanks.
and thank you, Nia, for covering this beautifully. Okay, thank you everyone, and I'll see you, and we all will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Good evening. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.